see. Good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year. Welcome to the year 2026. Thanks to Crystal, we've got a wonderful and beautiful background to bring in the new year. Hopefully, everybody had a great, fantastic holiday season. Here in Southern California, I hear that we tied Seattle and Portland for the amount of rainfall we've had since October until the end of the year. We normally have about 3 to 4 inches of rain. We had 14 inches of rain, and it just seemed like it never stopped. So, in fact, we're still soggy, but we're going to get through this. We had a party because the sun came out and everybody celebrated. So, Brigette, you're up in the Bay Area, and you guys can get a little bit more rain and moisture than we do. We're not used to that, so. But it's been a soggy end of the year, but it's a bright and sunny beginning of this year. My name is Gregory Sneed, and founder and CEO of Lifesaver Financial Services. I help my clients feel better about their money. And now it's my pleasure to welcome to the virtual stage the 2026 Queen of the Community Briefing, Miss Crystal Mitchell.
Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. I hope you all had a fantastic holiday season. I got much needed rest, and it took me a little while this week to get back to normal. I'm still not there yet. Maybe next week I'll get back to normal. But I am happy to be here because there are some of us that just did not make it through 2025. And so I am very happy to be here and looking forward to the fight for 2026 because it's already started with a bang. We got work to do. So hope you all had a wonderful time with your family. Welcome to the community briefing. This is a platform that is here for you by us so that you can meet and greet everyone that is doing things in our community, around our community, across the country. That are working to make our community a better place. So we want to thank all of our guests in 2025. We had some fantastic guests in 2025. Looking forward to 2026 and what it brings to us. So we're kicking it off with Miss Brigette LeBlanc this week. And so that's a good start.
Thank you.
This platform is sponsored and monetary sponsored, supported by Recycling Black Dollars, and supported by the BBA, the Black Business Association, as well as we have our sponsors. Mr. Michael Banner is one of them. LDC Los Angeles is one of our sponsors, and we thank you so much, as well as Wells Fargo Bank, the Northrop. Let me see. I don't have them all up here in front of me. Urban Excellence, PCR. SoCal Gas, Southern California Edison, and I don't think I missed anybody, and if I did, I am so sorry. But thank you guys for coming, and we're glad to have you. And I'm gonna kick it back over to our host, Mr. Stephen Banner. He is the producer, and we couldn't do it without him, so let's give him a great big hand for that. Thank you, Stephen, for all of last year. And Mr. Greg, he just introduced himself. He's our MC, so we're going to give him a great welcome. And Miss Robin is probably traveling because that's what Miss Robin does in between all the other stuff that she does. And so, but Robin is the other female energy, and I'm sure she'll be back next week if she's not coming in a little later on the day. And all of our incredible guests that come to see us every week, we are so thankful for that. And hopefully we'll see you all throughout the 2026. Make sure you tell a friend, tell everybody, because this is the place you should be every Thursday after morning at 11 a.m. And with that, I'll kick it back to Greg.
Amen. Amen. So I did get a text message from Robin. She is finishing up a meeting, so she's anticipating joining us.
Okay.
So when she arrives, we'll welcome her with open arms and fanfare and maybe a parade. Okay.
All right.
So again, welcome to the community briefing. Our guest today is Brigette and LeBlanc, and she is up in the Bay Area, and she serves as a principal consultant specializing in event planning, community engagement, and has over 20 years of significant experience in researching and advising people in the areas of planning, design, development, and execution of private and public projects. So she has spearheaded and guided over 200 meetings and events. And she also serves as a vice chair of the board of directors for a nonprofit where she does volunteer and leadership. She looks like she's originally from the San Francisco Bay Area. Normally, we give a full background and bio. I was clowning her a little bit before we started in the green room. That I usually looked up a LinkedIn profile, and sometimes it's a page, sometimes it's a couple pages. I think the record so far had been 5. Well, she gets the record today for 7 pages. So I'm going to let her personally summarize all the things that she's done. I see radio station stuff. I see a whole bunch of things in there. So please join me in welcoming to the virtual stage, Brigette LeBlanc.
Thank you. First, giving honor and praise to God. I'm very humbled to be invited to speak to you today and to continue the hard work that our founders of All Economic Empowerment for Black folks has started, and we're continuing to work hard in the capacity that we're doing. So I'm currently the president and CEO of the San Francisco African American Chamber of Commerce. As Gregory mentioned, I am a native of San Francisco Bay, like literally San Francisco proper. And that has played a huge advantage of me taking on this role. Excited to be here and just wanted to kind of talk about where we are right now. Yes, we did start the year off with a bang, but that's something that as a people, we are accustomed to making sure that we are resilient. So we're in a complicated moment right now. We are in an era where the future of civil rights infrastructure is uncertain, where history is being challenged, erased, or rewritten, where economic pressures on small businesses is rising at the same time that access to capital, contracts, and protection is becoming harder. So it's not easier. And yet in this moment, Black entrepreneurs are still building, not just their businesses, but stability, jobs, culture, wealth pathways for the next generation. And what I want to share with you today and have some dialogue about is Black businesses are not asking for charity, as you all know. We're not asking for fair access to opportunity, and we are building the infrastructure to use that opportunity well. So, as you know, we have several chambers throughout California and nationally, and a lot of times we are always trying to make sure that we have access for our members, that we are building relationships in the corporate space, the political space, and that we're making sure that we are giving access to our members, not just from a financial standpoint, but stability as far as their health and wellness and generational growth and promoting the things that they're so passionate about. But as you know, there are challenges, right? And so Black-owned businesses remain underrepresented in the economy, not because of a lack of talent, but because of the structural barriers. We still have limited access to early stage capital, the difficulty in navigating procurement systems, certifications and compliance hurdles, the lack of proximity to decision makers, and generational wealth gaps that make risk harder. So I want to take a pause right there and to see if we are at least in agreement with some of the things that I've shared in the space that you're currently working. And at the same time, there are major systems like city governments, corporations and institutions where they spend millions of dollars every year on goods and services. And too often, Black businesses are not positioned to access these dollars, not because we aren't capable, but because we are not bought into early enough for trained, to be trained or are taught about how to make sure that we're just not invited to the table, but how do we actually get to the door? So there is a shift that is happening. I'm a person that believes in collaborations. I'm really happy that I'm now being invited into the LA family of making sure that we work. We're only like an hour and 15 minutes away by plane. And then if we ever do get the high speed rail, the train that's supposed to get us there a lot sooner, that we're looking into that too. So I just believe that collaboration is great. I'm happy to see that I have our president and CEO, Ahmad Holmes, on the line as well. So welcome. Thank you for joining. They have been a huge support to us because as I'm in this new space, they're dealing with a lot of things on the state level, and they've invited us in, and I've learned a lot from how we are working on continued policy, how a lot of us are just keeping our foot to the ground and finding out where we can get access to additional funds and how we can grow. But the only way that we're going to grow is that we collaborate. I only have one good idea, but if I'm on a Zoom call or I'm in meeting, sometimes we have several ideas. So how do we take all of those ideas and we actually make them work? It's collaboration. Everyone can have the stage at the same time, but we need to make sure that we're constantly delivering the services to our community that involve health, because our health is our wealth. And then also, how are we preparing the next generation to be entrepreneurs, even if they do decide to go to college? If we go back and we look at our history, we have entrepreneurs who did not have that college experience, but they were still, millionaires and so forth. So there's just a lot to uncover. San Francisco, as you know, is a city that has a new mayor. San Francisco always is in the news about something that we are doing. There was some legislation that was signed about a week or so ago about the reparations and funding. Don't know where the funding is coming from, but the legislation has been signed. We're also, revamping how downtown San Francisco looks, so that we have programs that we're talking to our members about who want to have the downtown space, on Market or other places that are more accessible. Northern California update. So the big story in San Francisco is that the gap and the opportunity are both measurable. Nationally, Black-owned employer firms are only about 3.4% of employer businesses. So the question is always, are we positioned to capture market share when procurement opens up? In San Francisco, what people overlook is scale. So our budget last year going into this year is a 15.98 billion. We are at a deficit where we have to reduce our budget by, I think, 400 billion. So, excuse me, million. And so what we're doing at the chamber is we're making sure that we're going to these budget meetings and that we're speaking out to make sure that the money that is allocated for small businesses, because sometimes it has to be a small business community. It can't just be one chamber speaking out. We're working with other chambers to make sure that these budgets are being reviewed and that we are making sure that additional funding that the funding is not cut. And people, San Francisco has a lot of money. There's a lot of different opportunities, but when it comes down to our community, if we're not getting through the door, sitting at the table and, helping them write policy, then we still lose. We were invited to be a part of a meeting with our district attorney where now they're talking about giving tax incentives for businesses who are open to hiring formerly incarcerated people to actually work in their business. So there will be a group of us that will be working on that, because the reality is that a lot of us from history, we have the talent. Unfortunately, we've been incarcerated. And so now, we need to come out into the workforce and make sure that we can provide for our families and our community, and to not fall back into the pathways that has allowed us to get into that infrastructure. So just really excited about being invited to those tables. Looking at tourism, San Francisco gets a lot of money when it comes to tourism. Our relationship that we're building with San Francisco Travel is very important because we have pockets within our city that have not been promoted in a way that it needs to be. Maybe they don't know how to do it. Maybe and they've never really been confronted to do it before. So we're coming at a place where we're coming as partners, and we're sharing information, and we're doing things innovatively to make sure that, and I'm sure these ideas have been thought about before, and they've even been at the table and they've had discussion, but wanting to make sure at this point that we're following through. An idea, a good idea is just a good idea, but it becomes a work of art when you're able to make sure that it's executed. So those are some of the other things that we're working on. I mean, there's just so many things that are happening here in San Francisco. We have the JP Morgan conference that's coming here next week. And so I have a team of people, and I thank God for them every day. And they keep their feet to the ground and say, "Hey, we're not present. We're not in the rooms. We're not excited. Or, we're not excited about the opportunities that are coming to San Francisco." So we're now letting people know that there is a San Francisco African American Chamber of Commerce. Although we've been in existence for 54 years, we've had our heyday, and we've done a lot of great things, and we have to continue to let people know that we're here. So we spent the last 2 days writing letters to the planners at the JP Morgan conference saying, "Hi, we noticed that you have all these other groups that are being included." And although it's too late for us to be included per se, we still need to be invited to the table. We still need to be in the room. We still need to make sure that we're networking and that we are bringing that information back to the community, especially around Medi-Cal, because that is really how, our community is definitely being affected by that, and all of the out pocket money that now a lot of the people have to pay, for their health benefits. So that's one thing. We would have liked to have gotten a lot farther with the Super Bowl 60 that's coming into town. I've been working on that pretty much after we had a really great success story for the All-Star NBA, and congratulations. I know that's going to be in your neck of the woods in the next couple of weeks. We were the only chamber in the county actually to have a great relationship. Thanks to Leslie Brown, where I wrote a letter to the NFL and I said, "Hey, the breakdown is how many people look like me actually play in the league." And then I represent an organization that has not been able to give certain access to these opportunities. Now, we all know the NFL, the NBA, they get letters like this all the time, but God wanted to make sure that at this particular time that San Francisco African American Chamber of Commerce was not only at the table, but that we made an impact. So moving fast, we probably had 45 days. We were given a space, a pop-up space for 3 days. We had over 30 African American vendors in this space. And we were able to, make their cash register ring, get full publicity. The mayor stopped by. And so now we have some of those people that are actually going down to Southern California to continue wanting to work and to be vigilant in that space. That's just one of the things that we have to do. So a lot of it's a lot of hard work, but we're keeping our feet to the ground as to how can we be more visual. And then I know as a chamber, we can't do it by ourselves. So then I'm calling on an Ahmad, or I'm calling on other chambers to say, "Hey, we need to jump in this together and to get more, visibility and to work together." And so the cycle just continues. We want to be an organization that just doesn't celebrate Black History Month and Juneteenth month and Black Business and Black Music Month and Black Business Month. We want to be an organization that continues to cross all business diversity and work with different chambers and different organizations to make sure that we are bringing our members the information that they need. And because I have worked on a national and a global space, we're always trying to make sure that we're at least giving them opportunities and information if they're interested to scale, at that particular level. So there's a lot when it comes to San Francisco and what we're trying to do. It is not a city that has been favorable towards African Americans, African Americans in general. We are now, and I don't have the complete statistic, but I believe we're in between 3 to 4% African Americans left in the city, which is probably about 32,000, some rough number. And then, we have billionaires that live here. We have a lot of money that comes through our city because we are one of the global places where people want to do business. But the job of trying to make sure that our voice is heard and that we're here, and not in a confrontational way. I mean, that worked back in the days that it worked, but now we have to make sure that they can't use that as an excuse of not letting us participate. We're no longer waiting to participate. We are definitely making sure that we are getting involved in different policies to drive where we need to be. I'm grateful for all of the hard work that has been done prior to my role with the chamber, but there is so much more that we need to do. And I'm just really excited about the collaboration, rebuilding relationships with the city and county. We're not always encouraging that our members do business with the city and county because we want them to venture out and to have their own private clients, even outside of San Francisco. But there's still resources that the members in our business community needs to tap into as well. So I'm going to pause now for any questions. I get really excited about San Francisco. Obviously, I'm a native, and I know that we have other great cities, Oakland, Sacramento, Fairfield. We have a lot of great San Jose. But it's my job to promote San Francisco, but to make sure that I promote Black business, not just here, but all over. Because if we look at the history, we have definitely we're inventors, we're founders, and I want to make sure that I have a small role in making sure that we continue to build upon what we have.
Thank you. Um, that was a lot in there.
It was.
But I wanted to get sort of a feel for the Black business community within San Francisco. You touched a little bit on the numbers. I imagine that San Francisco, for lack of a better term, has seen shrinkage in the Black community as Los Angeles has. Of course, there's an abundance of affordable housing in San Francisco and the Bay Area. Kidding. But that has to have an impact, right? Has to have an impact on people moving there. I don't know who you said there's a bunch of billionaires. Maybe that's what's needed to to live in San Francisco proper. And then, of course, you have the entire Bay Area, which has expanded enormously. But help us zero in and focus on the Black business community there in the city of San Francisco, and then also the Black community there.
Well, the type of businesses that we have engineers, we have architects, we have a lot of people that are in the construction industry, public relations, generational wealth, attorneys. You name it. We have a lot of different businesses. As the breakdown in construction. People who work on infrastructure projects, from communications to outreach to those different things, restaurateurs, artists. I'm really big on artists, and artists are definitely entrepreneurs. We have a member who is fortunate enough to have a gallery in downtown San Francisco, not too far from Chinatown. I'm really excited about the national and international work that he has done. We have, hairstylists, barbers. I'm also promoting people who are in the fashion industry where, they are not just local fashion folks, but they actually do, fashion shows in Europe and things of that nature. And they take, people there. And so models are also, entrepreneurs. So we just have I like to look at it as just not the brick and mortar, that are entrepreneurs and that actually represent San Francisco. We have an eclectic, voices and different ranges that are actually build up our business community.
And do you see, is it sort of stabilized in terms of numbers and size and growth? Is it building, or what's the trajectory for the Black community and the Black business community there in San Francisco? Perhaps
So what I
next.
have noticed is that there are a lot of young African American folks that are moving to San Francisco between, I mean, up until like, let's just say early 30s. And so I've been really trying to tap in to find out like, where are you? What type of business are you doing? And a lot of it is tech business, right? And so there's and they, they're making money. So you have that whole new population that's in San Francisco. But what I've noticed is they're not knowing where to go and or who to meet on the other side for the people that have been here. So one of the things that we're doing is we're actually wanting to bring these members and these people in our business community together so they can network and they can have, they can build upon relationships and possibly, do some work together. A lot of businesses, unfortunately, have closed, especially in the restaurant space. We don't have as many restaurants and so forth that I would like to see as my sister city in Oakland does. But we definitely wanting to make sure that we support those people that are interested in opening up restaurants and being restaurateurs. So we have a great relationship with the Golden Gate Association where we're able to have our restaurant businesses gain access to their information and to their networking mixers, at least for a year for free. And that way that helps them, learn what the other larger restaurants and so forth are doing as well. The other thing is that we just have to make sure that the businesses that we do have are sustainable. So as far as advocacy, making sure that, I'm kind of like, I'm real personable with the members. I call them my members, and I realize they're not just my members, but they're my members. They're in my cell phone. I'm texting them at night about an opportunity, about a scholarship, about I need you at this meeting. And so they feel very comfortable in telling me like, this person hasn't paid us in 6 months. I'm like, wait a minute, how did that happen? And like, who's this person? And so then I'm on the phone having the conversation, the Zoom call, trying to make sure that they are getting paid. Because to me, if we lose a Black business because they haven't been paid and they're not able to be sustainable, then the whole community loses, right? So some of the big folks are not accustomed to that. I let them know that it's not a conversation to be confrontational, but it's a conversation to bring resolve to the situation, and that our folks need to be paid, and that you've used our statistics to make sure that you've received these contracts, and yet still some of our people are not being taken care of. So if in fact this continues to be a problem, then maybe we need to go back to the table. You need to do better outreach to say, hi, we want to have a workshop about some of the challenges that you're facing when it comes to payment. And so I've been able to call out certain parties to make sure that that doesn't happen. And I'm giving them all the credit. But the bottom line of it is that our folks need to be paid. In 6 months prior to the holidays, I think it's unfair for anyone not to be paid, especially if person A is receiving their paycheck every 2 weeks and their family didn't miss Christmas. I don't believe that my members need to miss Christmas. And so it's a different approach, especially being the first woman in this role. In the past, we did have one other president, Garvis, so he's no longer with us, who's just, an advocate for his members as well. It's a style, but because I've been involved in so many other projects in San Francisco, and I understand what happens in these closed door meetings, and I've spoken up before. We can't continue, to let this happen. So being able to advocate, making sure that we understand what policy is, and being able to make sure that we are having that younger generation involved so they can understand, and that we're serving not as people who know exactly what to do, but we're mentoring each other. And so with that, we can continue to grow. Some people get into the business and, they don't go through certain things. I'm a firm believer that if you want to be an entrepreneur, and, people walk up to me all the time, oh my goodness, I want to be an entrepreneur and I want to do what you're doing. I'm like, okay, it's not that easy. But if you want to be an entrepreneur, we have resources that you are partners that you need to go and sign up for their classes.
Absolutely.
And when you graduate from those classes, your statement should be, hi, Brigette. I just graduated from the Renaissance Entrepreneurship Center. And because I'm a product of the Renaissance Entrepreneurship Center, I know the type of training that they've gone through. And so now I can have a further conversation and say, okay, these are some other things that you need to do. These are different resources. Make sure that you tap into these different organizations. It's not just about the San Francisco African American Chamber of Commerce. It's about us collectively working together because we can't do it all. But if I know that your organization is doing something, or Sacramento is doing something, or Fairfield or Oakland is doing something, I'm not territorial when it comes to our members. I want to make sure that they're always eating, and that that they're not standing in line to deposit their check, that they have their private bankers that are actually working with them. That's how I want our business to scale.
Yeah, yeah. In our first year of the community briefing, we spent a couple of sessions talking about Black folks being in business and not in business. So there's a difference. Um, is there an African or a Caribbean population within San Francisco? Is that growing?
Yes, there is a huge Ethiopian population in San Francisco. We do have some members, and we will be working with them, this year to make sure that their voices are definitely heard. We do have a board member that actually works with immigrants as well that have moved to San Francisco and that are interested in scaling a business and starting a business. We haven't tapped into it as much as we need to, but we plan to. We have been on panels where we've worked with other African diaspora organizations where we've had conversations around, business and how we can work together. But there's a lot of work to do, and because we can't handle it all, we're definitely making sure that we are working with people and giving them access that they need, so they can continue to be members and continue to be the branding that we need to move our organization to the next level.
Yeah, I've not personally spent a lot of time in San Francisco proper. It's been a long time. I think the first time I was there, I was 20 years old, and me and a buddy, we ran up Lombard Street at full speed. I know I wouldn't be able to do that today. And hopefully folks coming there can still find a good place to get some grits and some good food. But let
Yes.
me, I noticed that Robin Billups has joined us, so we're going to bring her to the virtual stage. That'll conclude my Q&A, and I'll let Robin zoom in. I presume, Robin, you've been up to San Francisco probably a little bit more than I have. So
Yeah, you know what? This is Brigette. You warm my heart. You warm my heart because all that you talked about was creating community and advocacy and scalability. Again, I was on another call and working on something else on a development side, but I just want to entreat you for the way you explain yourself and also the process that you have. And that the point of, again, as Greg said early on, we talked a lot about what's required and that there are resources available. And then everybody on here is a subject matter expert of some sort related to entrepreneurship, business coaching, and can identify resources. What I ask you to do is to continue to support the community briefing and invite your members to dial in, because I think that if we can bridge the gap between the distance, because we can do that via Zoom, I think we can all collectively learn from each other. And then the final thing that I'll say related to the young people, there was a thing on TikTok that I sent to Greg and Steve and Crystal and Sarah, where this young sister is talking to an audience about all the other communities and how they build their business. The Cambodians own this and the Vietnamese own that and blah, 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 blah. And somewhere along the line, we forgot that part. We forgot that we need to help each other and that we need to support each other. And going after these young people who are making all kinds of money in the tech sector. But as we know, everybody that soared in the tech sector originally, they're not there anymore. They're not there anymore. And I don't think that they think about exit strategies. I don't think they think about creating these alliances. So however we can help to support what you're doing. Thank you, Stephen. I think you're great advocate, and you are doing the work, and I love that you're being open, transparent. And it, I don't like to use the word authentic because the Black people, what else can we be? You know what I'm saying? What else can we be? But I just want to entreat you. I'm looking at these faces and everybody that dials in here regularly, our regulars, we're all nodding our heads and saying, yeah, this is a new family member. Thank you. Happy New Year.
If I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge and ask him to say any words. I know that I'm putting him on the spot, but our president of our state chapter, Ahmad Holmes, sorry for calling you out, but just wanted to give him a few moments to talk about what we're doing on a state level and how when you talk about advocacy, the team that we have there, and that's working on some things that we're trying to make happen. I'm always inspired about the work that they're doing. So, Ahmad, do you have a few minutes? I know, probably cut him off. There he is. Come off camera so we can see you.
Oh, we're not going to do that. I'm in the middle of doing my hair right now, so I can't. No, if you know me, I don't have any hair, so I really don't have any hair
The
to do.
same probably looks like Greg.
Yeah, I had trouble with mine too.
Easy,
Yeah, yeah.
easy.
Your
Easy,
hair and
Miss
makeup. Your makeup then.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you, Miss Brigette. It is an honor to call you not just a friend, but a family member. We've had some great opportunities to work together, and you just completely put me on the spot, and I wasn't expecting it. So forgive me if I'm trying to pull it together as I talk it through. But in case you do not know me, I am Ahmad Holmes. I am the president and CEO of the California African American Chamber of Commerce, which is one of 3 statewide chambers within the state of California. I work very closely with a lot of the African American chambers, specifically with Brigette, and she's helping us with not just moving the needle, but actually establishing what the needle should look like. And we've got an event coming up in January, which I'll talk more about, which Miss Sarah Harris is allowing us and blessing us to be engaged in that event as well, which is incredible. But working, I think what I wanted to say is echo everything that Brigette said, but more importantly, when you work with the entire state, you're trying to collaborate with not just the Black, but the Brown, as well as the Asian. And specifically, we work hand in hand with the Cal Hispanic Chamber, as well as the Cal Asian Chamber, on legislative policies and things of that sort to make sure that we not just at the table, we're moving the needle. So from the statewide level, we march hand in hand, arm in arm. And then I work specifically with our brethren in the various areas, maybe San Francisco, maybe Oakland with Kathy Adams and her organization, maybe way down in San Diego with Donna and her organization. You know, she just changed her tenure to Tony, who's in charge of the Black Chamber in San Diego. But we're going to try to do the best we can to work arm in arm together. That was one of the first things that I decided to do was sit down with Sarah. I sat down with Angela Gibson with GLAC when I got hired here 3 years ago and said, we're going to figure out a way to unite us all, not just from a community standpoint, but a uniform voice from the state standpoint. And so far, so good. We're making some headway. It takes a village. It's not just one person. So the more we can all be together, the more that I keep tapping Sarah on the arm, the more that Brigette will come and support, we will get to where we need to be.
Thank you, President Holmes. I also want to give acknowledgement to 2 national organizations that we are members of, and that is the U.S. Black Chamber of Commerce. So maybe that's somebody, Ron Buxby is the president, and maybe that's someone you guys can consider to interview. And then also the National Black Chamber of Commerce as well. And so I've been able to fly to Atlanta and to Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is my second home. I'm a Washington, D.C. girl. It's my second home. So I'm always going there. But, you know, I've looked at the structure that these organizations have and all of the work that they've done. And, you know, it's just amazing to be a part of that and to learn from them, and the access that we are given. I'm able to share, you know, with our members. So, you know, they pay their membership fees, but then they have access to our national, you know, our national connections as well, and encouraging them to go to Washington, D.C. to attend one of the forums that the U.S. Black Chamber is doing, or to fly out to Atlanta and to really, network and engage with the National Black Chamber, as well. And we are just excited about all these different partnerships that we have.
I believe Stephen has his hand up.
I want to give the floor to Sarah Harris, president of the BBA of Los Angeles.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, everybody. Brigette, it is a pleasure to come on this morning and to learn a bit more about you. I do look forward to meeting you in person on the 28th, which is what Ahmad alluded to for the Chamber's conference on January 28th. So it would be so great to meet you there and again to participate as well as a panel speaker at the event. With the BBA, it's California is rather vast and large and stuff, and we don't also always get the opportunity to come together always, but I like the fact that Ahmad did reach out and say, hey, would you like to participate? And we need to do more of that to bring us together. And so I'm looking forward to more of those opportunities. So thank you for coming on here today. Again, I just look forward to more opportunities. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
before
Look forward to meeting you as well.
before we bring Michael on, earlier, late last year, or somewhere mid-year, Michael was talking about a mentorship program for our young people, helping them navigate through what's going on. Because at this point, we are working for them. And so we need to make sure that they receive the wisdom and the guidance and the direction under the banner of those of us that have been out here working these streets and boots on the ground for a very long time. If you guys, we all have noticed it and we've commented on it, but what we really need to look at what is going on in our country today. And the one thing the MAGA group did, or Trump did, was he galvanized every corner of his universe to do exactly what he wanted to do. And we sit and ask questions how in the world does, we look at him and what he's doing and why are these people following him? Well, they're following them because their skin color is white. And so we don't agree with none of what they're doing. But what I do agree with is those of us that are Black people, I don't give a crap where we are, what corner of the world we're in. If we don't start working together and marching like they do, when they fall in line, they fall in line, whether he's a pedophile or he's a felon or whatever he is, he's white. And that's just the bottom line of it. And so as Black people, we need to do that as well. In Africa, they are gathering the fact that we have to put our mindset of colonization, that we need them aside and move forward and do what we need to do collaboratively, because we cannot do this alone. We're a small population of this country, but however, we built the damn country. And so we cannot be deported. We cannot do any of that. We have to be able to stand together to make that happen. And we have to reach back into our young people. And I'm going to give the floor to Michael because he actually has created a structure. How do we make sure that our young people are in this fight with us, so that we can give them the direction that they need, but also helping prepare them for the future, utilizing their tech, their AI. A lot of us are resolved to not doing, we just gonna sit and coast this out. But it's not about us right now. It's about all of us that have grandkids and children still in this country that has to do what we need to do. Yes, they can go somewhere else, but why? So with that, Michael, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Well, good morning. You guys can hear me?
Yes.
Brigitte, it's a pleasure to meet you. I actually love San Francisco. I'm actually headed up there February the 19th, like the 22nd, I'll be there. I'm a frequent visitor to SF Jazz, so I'm going up there for the weekend. And I worked in the Bay Area probably over the last 20 years a few times. If you know I worked in South of Market, where
Summer.
yeah, and there's and I actually got introduced to a Chinese family that owned a property there that was going into foreclosure that I helped them save. And eventually they ended up selling it to the developer for $4 million. That there's a new mixed use project that's been put up there by this, I think it's Strata Investment Group.
Mhm.
I've also done some work in Oakland and downtown. If you know Thomas Berkeley Square,
Mhm.
I was involved working with Alan Dones to actually make that happen. So I have an affinity for the Bay Area. And actually, just two simple questions for you. One is the ability to collaborate you mentioned earlier, which I think is extremely important. And I'm wondering if you can share with us any ways that you are thinking about or have collaborated with other ethnic organizations. That's one. The other thing is I was on a call yesterday, and it turns out there was, I don't know, 400 people from across the country on this call, which the people who put it together thought they'd maybe get 50. And it was around the CDFI industry. The CDFI Friendly America is what the organization is called. And what that tells me that there is a growing interest, and maybe it's reactionary in as much as the Trump administration is trying to kill CDFIs. And that's a tool that a lot of people who don't have access directly to a JP Morgan Chase, as an example, and JP Morgan Chase will say, oh, why don't you talk to our CDFI partners and see if they can help you. And I'm wondering what's your take on what the CDFI industry is in the Bay Area is like?
Thank you for the question. And so I'm happy that you are a fan of the Bay Area, especially my city, San Francisco. So the first question I'm happy that you asked is something I forgot to mention. Probably in November of last year, I've been attending what we call these president lunches. And the president lunches are where we have presidents of the multi-ethnic organizations come together, and we have keynote speakers to talk to anything about ranging from ICE to public safety and things of that nature. And so this organization, I'm able to network and to start doing some work with them as from the ethnic cultures of like the French Chamber of Commerce, the Sweden, the Turkish. I mean, like all of these different ethnic groups that we have that actually have chambers of commerce here. So we have now formed a nonprofit, and so we'll be doing a lot of cross collaboration. Of obviously, the Chinese and the Hispanic chambers are also involved as well. So with San Francisco being an international city, I'm a native of San Francisco. I understand what that means. When I worked on Gavin Newsom's campaign, the first year that he became mayor, I worked in a community where I had almost whatever ethnic group that we had is high Ethiopian groups and things of that nature. So I understand how to work and to be a part of those collaborative groups to make sure that we're at the table and that all of our communities can benefit, because sometimes they want to say that we as a group, we don't work well with others, and that's not true. So being a part of this organization and making sure that we share not only information, but contracting opportunities with our members and other members is great. As far as the CDFIs, that's a huge discussion that we're definitely going to be tapping more into this year. We haven't really touched upon that in the past too much. I believe we had one event under our previous president. And I am honestly learning a lot about that, but have had a few contacts with a couple of people that we want to do some type of workshop or conference or something around that. I know that Oakland in the past has done a lot more in that space. So we're looking at trying to make sure that we bring that information to our city as well.
I'll jump in real quick. One of the Michael, you mentioned one of the top five things that I love about San Francisco is the SF Jazz. So if you don't not familiar with SF Jazz, definitely tune in. They've been around a very long time, and you can catch them, I think, weekly on satellite radio. Yeah, it's. I'm envious, Michael. That sounds like a great trip.
Anyone else have any questions? I think Joseph, no, Joseph, someone asked some other questions, didn't they, in the chat? Let's see.
We a couple of years ago, before Terrence Blatchard had a role at SF Jazz, I had a contact out of LA, and so when he was in town and had a concert, we, the San Francisco African American Chamber of Commerce, we had a meet and greet afterwards, and that was pretty successful. And we are I think we have a call out to him now to see how we can work with SF Jazz as we move forward. So there's we have like a warm plate in there, but now it needs to we need to turn it over and make sure that we continue or we start a relationship with them as well.
Okay, let me see if there's any more questions. Catherine said, I believe the initial question, what about programs to engage our youth?
Okay, so
Michelle
I'm
has
happy.
her hand up too.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry. So right now, I've been able to raise money. We have a STEM project. So we had an event maybe about 4 years ago. It's the event that I had planned for the chamber. It was our Juneteenth event. At the end of the event, we had someone still stand up and said that he had an announcement he wanted to make. So as an event planner, I'm thinking, okay, what is this announcement about? Like no one gave me a cue card or anything. So I'm like praying that it wasn't anything crazy. Well, on the spot, he was impressed about what we were doing. He gave us $20,000 and he wanted us to start a STEM program with the start off of the $20,000. So it took us about a year and a half. Last year we had our first cohort that was successful, and now I'm continuing to raise money so we can have we can have continual cohorts around STEAM, science, technology, engineering, they're also adding art into that. We also have another organization in San Francisco called San Francisco Black Wall Street, and they have a training program. I think it's the Millionaire Club. And what they do is they take a cohort of maybe 25 young people and they give them training for maybe about 3 or 4 months about, what is it to be an entrepreneur? And then they have to complete the training and then they're giving resources to start their business. So that's another program that we have participated in as far as being a keynote speaker or offering resources from our members to be mentors. I do need to check back in with them to see, how that organization is going around that program. But I'm a strong believer in knowing that we definitely need to encourage them. I believe someone earlier said what we're doing, we're doing for them. We do have, I think, 3 members within our chamber that actually works with young people. And so when we have certain calls, I'm always asking about opportunities that we can expose our young people to, within those organizations. And so we had a call with the NFL and I told them like, well, hey, can you give us tickets so our young people can attend the Super Bowl? I know it was a huge ask considering how much those tickets are, but of course they weren't able to do that, but we were able to get tickets that we can actually give our members that have the organizations around youth to go and experience the Super Bowl experience, which is a big deal to a lot of the young people, and then making sure that we continue to work with them. I have a few ideas that I would like to bring to the table about how we can involve our young people, definitely through mentorship, but even having a young people's forum and around entrepreneurship. So that is what we're doing currently, and we're open to more suggestions and to collaborating, with other organizations to make sure that it's not just a local initiative, but a national initiative as well.
I'm gonna get to you in a minute, Michelle. Up there, Bridget,
Uh-huh.
I do a network. I do a it's a youth entrepreneurship program here in Los Angeles with the Urban League. We are we have a partnership with an organization called Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship, NIFTY. They are in the Bay Area. And generally the educators are coming out of the schools and some organizations. We're now reaching out to organizations. Or at one point, the Urban League was primarily the only organization that was there. Most of them were schools. So you might want to look into that. The kids have an opportunity to create a business plan and then pitch that business plan. And there's a monetary gain for that for them. And then within the network, there's so many opportunities, but our kids get to compete on a regional level. And they also compete on a national and an international level. And so we just recently had a young lady that was a keynote speaker at the Ernst& Young strategy conference in Palm Springs. We have a kid that was written up in Wharton's business global youth program, and we have a young person that is been written up in Forbes. So those are some programs that you want to look into, even taking your kids and creating someone to teach, identifying a couple of people to teach the program. We've been doing this now for 18 years, and it's really beneficial within our community. Those are some of the ways we can get them involved from that way, because you can just plug everything into them in those spaces.
Right.
Everything.
Yes,
Even your
yes.
activism. I do all of that. Michelle.
Hello.
Hi.
What's one opportunity for Black-owned businesses in San Francisco that isn't getting enough attention yet, but could be a real game changer? And how do I connect with you?
One business? Whew, that's a hard question. I think there's several businesses. I would say any woman-owned business, Black woman-owned business in San Francisco, especially in the environmental space. We do have, I believe, one or two members that are extremely active, in that space, and it's never there aren't a lot of people who look like them that are actually given opportunities or to have people, speak on their behalf or to be a part of contracting opportunities. So I will say that would be one of the ones that people don't think that maybe we're in that space per se, but that would be one. So I'll stick to that, but there are a couple of other ones as well. But anything that's male dominated to a degree around construction and things of that nature, I would definitely say that would be the second.
Thank you.
Stephen has a question. Do you have access to decision makers at some of the Bay Area corporations such as Facebook, Salesforce, and so forth?
Thank you for the question, and I'm going to go ahead and acknowledge some of our corporate advisory council members, a group that I created to offer mentorship to me to make sure that I'm successful. So that would be Meta, that would be AT&T, that would be Comcast, that would be Suffolk Construction, and then we also just signed up with a Timmery Collection Hotel by Hilton, and so those are our five corporate strategy people that I work with every day, and the funding that I give us is that they give the chamber is earmarked for things that we need to elevate our chamber and the awareness. And then we also have community partners, which would be KBLX Radio. And in the past, we've worked with UC Berkeley Extension. So I want to give a shout out to all of the people that support us there. And yes, I do have some contacts within that space. I believe you said for Meta. Salesforce has been a challenge. I am working with a member who's actually on the phone right now. I'm actually on this call, Carmen Kelly, where we are looking into access to get into to have the conversations with Salesforce. Some of the people that was with Salesforce in the past are no longer there, so we had to somewhat start over.
I just wanted to say, in regards to the environmental, I'd love to be able to follow up with you because we have a young lady here, Robin Thorne, who's in that space. My background is commercial real estate construction financing. So I'd love to be able to talk about that. But I strongly suggest as you're working with these young people and you're working with these business owners too, or what sectors are they following with it, and identify the professional organizations, be it the majority professional organizations or the diverse professional organizations. And I mentioned NSBE being one of them. When you look at these professional organizations who are, they're especially for the Black organizations, they're a little bit cliquey. But I think that if you reach out to the Divine Nine, the National Society of Blacks and Engineers, ABLE, which is the folks in the utility space, I think that for me, it's always the regulated businesses. Those are the ones that you probably can get the most traction with. And then the other piece being California Public Utilities Commission, in particular, it's utilities, but the telecoms are there. So take a look at that. And then
Yes.
the final thing that I would say is I always go to their website and see what they told the public. And that's what you bring to them. This is what you told the public, and this is how we can respond to help you solution that situation.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Robin. And so, Brigette, if you want a connection at the Nifty for the Bay Area, for the I can make sure that happens.
Great
And,
organization. Great
it's
organization.
a phenomenal organization, and it's got a great backstory as to why it got started in the first place. We want to thank you so much. So here's where I'm going to use Robin's word, entreat you. One, thank you, and congratulations on your new position. And it sounds like you're hitting the ground with everything you got. And so, like all the rest of us, that's what we do. And you and I share some very similar needs and goals and pillars. Here's the thing I'd like to ask you and Amon. The community briefing was created back 7 years ago. Yeah, so almost going into 7 years now, for the benefit of making sure we were the voice that our people could check into, to meet the people like yourself, so we would all know what's going on. Those of us that are working in these spaces, we do know what's going on. But trust me, the public does not.
Right.
Right? It never passes past us or whatever, and to get to them. And I know in my coaching practice, I'm sharing every single day with people, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that." So that was the purpose of the community briefing, is bringing that information past us, the stakeholders and the leaders and the people that are with the boots on the ground, to our population and to our public, so that we all can come together. Because without the knowledge, it's not going to happen. So I would love if you guys would share, and we can collaborate within this space to make sure that we're reaching all the people in our cities that need to have this information, not just in Los Angeles, not just in the Bay Area, but there are Black people everywhere, and everywhere they need to be connected. We work in silos, and it's frightening where we are today to continue working in those silos. We can't do this by ourselves. We have to do this collectively. So if we can ask you guys to do that, that'd be fantastic. Join us so that we can grow these numbers. We should be like Michael, a weekly 400, 500, 600 people on a call, forcing us to come off of Zoom, because we cannot meet the numbers anymore. That's where we really should be, so that we have a common place where you can go to know you're going to get information. So that is what I'm asking. So everyone on this call, thank you guys for joining us. In 2026, we'd love for you guys to help us grow the community briefing. We can get funding for the program if we have bigger numbers. That's just the bottom line. We're not reaching enough people. And so we need to grow this. So everyone, even your young people, this is a great place. We've had a number of young people that follow us and are really benefiting. So we can ask you guys to do that to help us grow. Bring a friend, bring 5 friends, 10 friends, whatever, every week. I'll send you the link. They can sign up and just come on. It's for us, and we really have to do that. Next week we have how do you pronounce his name, Stephen? Dedrin Sneed. Is that a relation?
My cousin. No, the name is spelled differently.
I know you spelled it with an S.
SNEAD. Yeah, so no relation.
He's going to be our guest, and he is going to be speaking about metaverse and AI. I have a young man that I'm going to bring on as well. AI, guys, is not going anywhere. We got to figure out how to incorporate it. When I was doing my search for a topic for the business zone for tomorrow's show, everything came down to building skills in AI. Everything, every topic, everything. And so we have to be ready for that and find out our comfortability space in it. But we got to be using it, utilizing it every single day. It's not going to take your job. If you're doing routine stuff, it is. But if you're gone above and beyond that and built some skills that nobody else can copy, then it won't. So with that, we want to thank you all for joining us today. Happy New Year to you all. Hope 2026. I like to say the even years are better, but I don't know now. As of January 3rd, I don't know, but I'm going to make mine the best. And so I want to make sure we're all working on making sure 2026 is going to move our needle in our communities to make sure that we're operating on a higher frequency than we have been in the past. So with that, you guys have a fantastic day. And I'm going to take us off of recording, and then we can have real conversation after we come off of the broadcasting places.